Good afternoon, sir, and to our audience. To begin, we appreciate you coming in today to talk to us and take the time to do so. My name is Francesca May Porcon, and together with me is Roberto Joaquin Baticados.
We are here to talk to you about your experience as a marine scientist, ecologist, and about your study entitled Ingestion of Marine Plastic Debris by Green Turtles or Cheloniamidas in Davao Gulf, Mindanao, Philippines.
According to the IUCN, many species of marine turtles faces the danger of extinction. Plastic debris in the ocean is a major cause of harm and death for marine species. Plastic, particularly plastic bags, is one of the greatest risks to turtles because they resemble the natural prey of turtles. The fact that this issue is widely recognized and is taken seriously by ecologists like yourself, Sir Abreo, is absolutely astounding and serve as a source of motivation for students like us and other aspiring professionals who will be watching this interview. But before we get started, Sir Abreu, could you please introduce yourself and give us and the audience a glimpse of your story and how you became and what inspired you to be an ecologist?
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me here, giving me a venue to share the results of my studies. Well, basically, the study on marine litter, I started it when I was taking up my master's degree way back 2014, 2015, I think. And then, actually, that was also the time when people were actually moved by the scene of a turtle having a straw being removed from its nostrils. And actually, it is one of the reasons why the plastic straws are being banned here in the Philippines because of that particular video. So while I was taking up my master's degree, I was doing a review of related literature and actually found out that there were no publications about plastics and its interaction with marine wildlife here in the Philippines. Although there have been a lot of studies in different parts of the globe. So that's when I started to do this research, and when I teamed up with an environmental advocate here in Davao, which has access on carcass recovery for beach whales, turtles, and other marine organisms. That's where we actually had a good working relationship, and then he takes the carcasses and we do the necropsy. So the first ever turtle that we did was actually that one that was published in 2016. So and then that is how all of my research in marine litter started. Then eventually we collect more and more carcasses and do necropsies, and then we also did an inventory of different species affected by marine litter here in the Philippines. The paper is also published way back 2019, and we also did we also had the first evidence for plastic ingestion by a whale shark that actually stranded here in Tagum City. So that's actually how it started. It started just to do an inventory for us to actually know what type of species are being affected by marine litter and what type of marine litter are being ingested or being entangled with the marine organisms. So the objective of my research, it's actually not that scientific in approach at first, because we were just out there try to list down organisms that are being affected by marine litter. So that would actually help to bring the topic or highlight the topic, so that other government agencies or other people would be concerned or would probably know that this type of trash is actually affecting our marine organisms here in the Philippines, not only in other countries. Because the turtle that had a straw removed from its nose actually, I think, was in Brazil. And imagine the action that was done in the Philippines that was basing their emotions from turtles that were affected by litter in Brazil. So I was hoping that if people will know that these types of events are also happening in the Philippines, I think they would have a much stronger feeling against plastics. Well, that's the story.
Thank you so much for that brief introduction, sir. It's such a pleasant thing to hear how you started and what is your objective, that you just really wanted people to know what is happening. But before we proceed po with that, can you share something about yourself, po? You seem so passionate about your work and about your research. We assume that becoming an ecologist is a life filled with joy and fulfillment, in addition to the long, exhausting hours spent working and studying. So, in light of this, we would like to ask of you, sir, about life outside of research and what it's like.
Um, Life outside of research. Well, actually, my work has been doing research since I think I finished school in 2007. So I was hired before I graduated. I was actually hired as a research assistant for a project here in UP Mindanao, and then I kind of teach a few subjects in Davao Medical School Foundation. I also teach a few subjects in Davao Oriental State College, and then went back to doing research again as of the moment. So as of the moment, I am a project development officer for the Marine Litter Project here in UP Mindanao. It's actually funded by the Department of Science and Technology. So outside of research, I think what are my hobbies or something? Well, I'm trying to pursue. I'm sending out applications for my PhD. So basically that's what I'm busy right now, and trying to finish a few papers for publications as well. So I'm trying to get the results of my master's thesis published in a marine pollution bulletin journal as well. So that's actually, yeah. And when you do research, or when you are an ecologist, well, just share my experience. It's actually a bit, it's quite a lot of fun when you're an ecologist, because you tend to be out on the field a lot. So you experience a lot of culture and etc. So basically, for me as a marine as a marine practitioner, I actually love being out on the beach, because that's actually part of your office. So if you're an ecologist, it's kind of basic for you to be out on the field. So so that's actually an extension of your office. The field is an extension of your office, so it's quite fun, and it's like you're working while on vacation, or on vacation while working. That's actually why I took up ecology in the first place.
I agree with you, sir. We just had our first field work in last month, and it's very fun because we get to know about certain communities, how these environments are helping them, how are, like, for example, plants are helping those people in those community live, and so forth and so on. So knowing, like, how you enjoy marine biology, how you enjoy going out on the beach, just wants us to have our fieldwork in marine biology as well po. And I think Joaquin has a question po, another question about yourself.
Sir, you mentioned that you were pursuing PhD. Now, can you share your experiences after undergraduate school and in your works in the field of ecology, and what have you encountered different challenges and obstacles, and how did you overcome them?
So after finishing undergraduate, I was hired, as I mentioned earlier, I was hired as a research assistant for a Australian funded project. It's called Sea Ranching of Sea Cucumber. So basically, we produce sea cucumbers, and then release them in the field so that they can actually grow and become a broodstock to resupply, or to increase the population of sea cucumbers in here in Davao Gulf. So one of the challenges really for research in that research for that matter is actually how people will accept research, because for example, the people that we worked with in the communities, they were already fed up with research because they said that there were a lot of people who did research there, but actually all were failure. So or they didn't update them on the results of their studies. So that was actually one of the challenges. We had to convince them that what we're doing is actually for them and not just for us to get data. So that's one of the challenges when you work with community, when you're outside or when you're in the field, when you work with community, that's actually one of the challenges. Like they are not that much accepting of the concept of research because they said that it's only you that will earn money because you're being paid by your boss to do this research. We don't get anything out of it. So that's actually one of the problem. So we overcame that one by actually just involving them a lot. For example, we involved them in the monitoring of the growth of the juveniles that we released in the field. So they had ownership of the project as well. So eventually, we developed a good relationship. Until now, although we don't have a project in that particular site anymore, we still communicate and then we still work together in small projects. For example, if I need to collect data on something in the area, I can still count on the people that I worked with years before to be there and help me. And then we actually did capacitate them in doing field surveys. So it's much easier now to conduct, for example, a transect survey in that particular area because we already have the people there already know how to do it.
Sir, I agree with you. I think that in local communities, it's a two-way process. And when doing research, as we learn from them and they learn from us, and that it really is hard in convincing people on what we are doing, as they are not familiar with the things that we are facing. And just by having an open communication, we can show them the benefits of the things that we are doing and that it will help their community, and it will transcend on the results, and it would also help other people in overcoming the problems that we are facing now.
Yes, that's actually part of being an ecologist because, again, the ecology is actually the study of interaction between living and non-living organisms.
Yes,
and of
ma'am.
course, communities are actually part of the living part of ecology. So that's actually another challenge that's being faced by ecologists. So basically, if you're going to do or you're going to dive in the field of ecology, you have to have an idea on how to deal with people as well, and not only the other biotic factors such as other organisms or animals that you are studying.
Okay, sis. And now, next question, please. Considering your motivational background and experiences, we're wondering what led you to choose a career in marine biology, and marine ecology.
Well, basically, when I was still in high school, I wanted to take up marine biology in UP Diliman, but I was not able to do so because my parents did not allow me, or we don't have the money to send me to UP Diliman. So the next best thing was actually to do BS biology here in UP Mindanao. And then, so that's actually, so the main reason why I really took up marine biology is for me to be able to do research on on the marine environment. So that's actually my goal, or my dream actually, was to do research on marine biology, marine ecology, and other marine stuff, or marine sciences in general. So that's actually the reason why I started, or why I took up biology in the first place.
Now, sir, now moving on, after reading the paper that you have published, it has piqued our interest and curiosity about the effects of plastic debris on marine turtles. So we came up with a few questions for you to answer, specifically on the paper you have published.
Yes po. And the first question po is, what are some physiological changes visible to a sea turtle when plastic debris are consumed po?
Uh, well, morphologically, nagiging they tend to lose weight, so they are actually emaciated. So because that's actually as one impact of plastics. When turtles ingest plastic, they feel satiated or they no longer feel hunger because they feel that they are always full. So that actually results physically to turtles being emaciated. And aside from that, because what we found was already a dead turtle, there's no other uh other physiological aside from that, because there was also blockage in their intestine. So that's actually one of the reasons, common reasons why organisms ingesting plastic dies, because their intestines are being blocked by plastics.
Aside from the turtle that you have observed in Davao po, are there any turtle that you have discovered who has the same situation as those in Davao po?
Uh, well, the study that we did in 2019 using social media as an alternative source of data, we actually saw different turtle species in different parts of the Philippines suffering from the same fate as what we had here in Davao Gulf. So aside from that, there was also another paper that was published also. Although the turtle was still here in Davao Gulf, it was a different individual, so it also ingested a lot of plastics. And um, out of the 5 turtle species that are found here in the Philippines, I think we had 4 of them being affected by marine litter. So 2 species had ingestion cases, and 2 species actually had entanglement cases. So although the turtles that were entangled did not really die, because some of them were rescued. So so well, yes, I think hawksbill turtle and the loggerhead turtle, I think, had interacted with marine litter. They were entangled, and then we had green turtles and leatherback turtles having records of ingestion that actually died because of ingesting plastics.
May I ask po, how were you able to know that that they have ingested plastics po without cutting them open?
Actually, that's one of the problems when studying marine plastic ingestion, because it's very difficult as of the moment to know whether an organism has ingested plastics or not, and unless you open it. So basically, here when we find carcasses of turtles and other marine organisms, we try to open it, at least the stomach, to actually look at the contents of the stomach. But there are now actually different methodologies that can be used to determine if an organism that is alive have ingested plastics. So you can have I forgot the term. You can do like colonoscopy for turtles to actually see if there are plastics inside the stomach while the turtle is still alive. Some studies are saying that if the turtles are having difficulty diving, then that would be a sign that it might have ingested something buoyant, extremely buoyant inside its body. So it would be having. So,
I
sorry about
sir,
that.
it's fine po.
Hello, but anyways, where were we? So aside from that, aside from turtles having problems with their buoyancy, you can actually know if a turtle has ingested plastics by looking at their poo. So if you'd be lucky enough to see them poo, then you can actually look at their excrements to look at to determine whether there's plastic or not. But
Um,
basically, most of the cases that are being investigated on plastic ingestion are dead turtles. So yeah.
Okay. Now, sir, in addition to this po, are there areas in the Philippines that are more susceptible or prone into ingestion of plastic pollution po?
Uh, Well, we currently don't have data on that one, or we don't have any information on that one. But basing on the study that we did, but again, there are a lot of limitations on the methodology that we used. There is actually higher number of ingestion cases reported here in Mindanao in Davao Gulf as compared to other parts of the Philippines. That's actually maybe because we report it more than people from different islands of the Philippines. However, if you are going to be looking at the similarities of the debris or the litter that is found in our oceans or surrounding the Philippines, it's actually expected that whatever is happening here in Mindanao is also happening in other parts of the Philippines. However, there's no particular specific hotspot yet for plastic ingestion aside from Davao Gulf. But again, our conclusion was derived from using a very extremely limited methodology. There are a lot of limitations. So that's not actually that conclusive yet.
Sir, since debris ingestion is very widespread in the Philippines po, is there a way that we could help the turtles from the ingestion po of the debris? Like hindi lang po sa pagpoop or for yeah. Is there another way po that we could help them without cutting them open?
Well, the only way to help marine turtles and other organisms is to actually prevent litter from making it to the ocean. So that's the only way, because the main reason why there are ingestion cases and entanglement cases because of the presence of plastic in their habitat. So you have to remove those things from the equation so that they would not encounter it anymore. So as of the moment, there's no way that we can actually remove all of the plastics that are present in the marine environment. However, we can actually at least minimize the input, because as of the moment, the number of plastics in the oceans are in an upward trajectory. So there is an increasing number of plastics being inputted or being input in the ocean. So in order for you to help, you have to have to at least minimize your plastic usage and do away with those useless plastics such as the single-use plastics. I think that's the only way to actually help the marine organisms and preventing their interaction with it further. Kasi one plastic can actually kill. We actually have here in the Davao, here in Davao, the Bone Collector Museum, the one that I partnered up with, in which there was a dolphin that actually died because it has ingested one soft drink crown. So yung parang soft drink cap. So only one cap, and it killed a dolphin. So imagine how many plastics are present in the environment. So that's how many organisms that can be killed by those plastics. So the only way as of the moment is to reduce or prevent the input of plastics to the marine environment. Now, yung plastics na nasa environment na, they say that doing coastal cleanup actually helps a little. So if possible, you can do coastal cleanups. So it tends to take away plastics from the environment, but not much really. But it does help according to some studies.
Now, sir, you mentioned that plastic ingestion kills many marine organisms. Now, how does the declining number of marine turtles due to plastic pollution influence the aquatic ecosystem dynamics?
Ah, Well, basically, turtles are actually herbivores, so they are they can be considered as primary consumers. Some of them actually, so they can be considered as primary consumers. So of course, according to one of the singers, na ang lahat ng bagay ay magkaugnay. So when you tend to remove one organism from the ecosystem, it will have a cascading effect, especially for these marine organisms such as turtles, which are actually can be considered as primary consumers. So if you remove them in the equation, then the upper consumers would have the secondary and the tertiary and the top predator would have problems because turtles are, for example, turtles are food for sharks. So basically, if you remove turtles, then that will have an impact on the population of the sharks as well.
Since you have listed all of those things that could affect the environment because of the decline of the number of the turtle po, what do you know, or what are the current policies and conservation programs in Davao, Mindanao that aims to protect aquatic organisms against pollution as well as microplastics po?
Well, currently there are a lot of NGOs that are doing doing something about it. We actually have somewhere in Mati, Davao Oriental, they have an NGO that actually protects the turtles. So what they do is they actually ensure that the turtle eggs will not be poached, and they have a rookery in which they would collect the eggs and place it in a secured area. And they have been releasing a lot of baby turtles since I think a few years back. So that's one. And then there's I think Aboitiz has a turtle sanctuary here in Davao City. They are also doing turtle conservation. So that's another. And aside from that, not much. Yun lang dalawa yung alam ko. And for microplast, if you're talking about microplastics, nobody's doing anything about it yet. So we don't even have that much data on microplastics in the Philippines. So that's actually one of the emerging problems that we have to tackle as well.
But it's very great po to hear that there's Davao is doing something about the turtles po, that they could still help them somehow despite like not really eliminating the factors such as the microplastic which is harming them. At least they're doing something po to alleviate it. On the last part of our interview, Joaquin is going to ask something po.
Okay, so as we near the end of our interview, our last question, sir, would be, what is your piece of advice for those who aspire to work in the field of marine biology?
Well, just like in any sciences, you just have to persevere, and you always have to have a critical mind and open-minded ka dapat. Kasi it's science is actually not fixed. So, for example, science is influenced by the information or the data that is available. So, for example, what was not possible yesterday can be possible tomorrow based on data. So, you have to have an open mind. Hindi pwede yung hindi mo tanggapin kasi ito lang yung alam mo. So, this is what you learned in school. So, that's actually one of the good characteristic of a scientist is that you have to have an open mind to accept things based on data and not on emotions or anything else. Aside from that, perseverance, open-mindedness, well, you just have to work hard and try to do small things. Not necessarily you have to do a huge study to address or to prevent plastics from getting in the environment. You don't have to do that. You just have to have small steps, or you can do small steps in order for you to just provide the information that is needed by the local authorities or by the authorities in general to help you solve the problem. There's no silver bullet for problems in our planet. You have to take it slowly, and then you just have to persevere until you eventually will reach your goal. Yun lang po.
Thank you so much for that insightful advice, sir. This is going to be extremely helpful, especially for those of us who are planning to specialize in marine biology in the future. On behalf of 2E Bio po and everyone present here today, please accept our sincere appreciation for imparting your knowledge with us. We are genuinely grateful to have interviewed a very passionate person and ecologist like you. We are extremely pleased to have had the chance to learn from you. This increased our enthusiasm and gave us the motivation to become a great ecologist such as yourself in the future po.
Thank you, thank you.
Again, sir,
Grabe naman yung flattery mo, hindi naman ganun. I'm
That's
just doing my
genuine
part.
po.
Yun lang. Doing your part, to actually address some of the problems that we are facing. Kasi we only have one planet, and it's very expensive, or nearly impossible to terraform Mars. So you just have to do something to at least try and salvage what we have, because we don't have any plan B for our lives.
We only have one home po.
Yeah,
True.
yan have one home.
Again, our group of environmental biology students would like to extend our sincere gratitude to you, Mr. Abreo, for spending time with us today and providing us with a wealth of information that is very valuable to our field of study. With that, we thank you again, Mr. Abreo, and have a great day.
Okay, thank you again for having me, and hopefully hindi ka na-bore.
Hindi po. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
We
Thank
learned
you.
a lot. Thank you po. Have a
Thank you.
great day.
You too. Bye-bye.